Alright, is it my PC, my internet, my phone, or the fact that I'm in the void causing these issues? Whatever, I don't care anymore. Insert the band Hell Yeah here. Copyrighted music. Got it. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, having trouble with something, David?
Yeah, Twitter won't show images on my phone. It only shows links for the images and videos, and YouTube is taking forever and a half to copyright check my Monday video. It started working after almost 4 hours, but it finally finished its bullshit.
Oh, I'm sorry. But at least that's the worst of it, right?
Oh no. Saturday was absolutely horrible. Got my back all scratched and bruised up, a tree nearly fell on me, and a horse bit me, and I had to throw hands with it to get it to stop.
You fist fought a horse?
Yeah, you know what's crazier? That ain't the first time it happened. Hell, I ran out of some of my insulin over the weekend and had to wait until Monday to get more, leading to me doing a lot of things with extremely high blood sugar. Luckily, I got my insulin Monday and got paid, so things may be looking up now. Maybe. Hopefully. I won't really know until this video comes out if YouTube will function for me.
You're having a horrible week, huh?
Yeah, at least a horrible weekend. Hopefully it's getting better, but like I said, I won't know at all if it's getting better until this video comes out at the earliest. Hell, I had to put a part of this video in some brackets so I know to change the line if certain conditions are met. I'll mark where it was when editing. It was when talking about YouTube being stupid.
You going to be okay? You gonna take a break this week?
Of course not! I didn't even take a break for my sister's wedding. I'm going to seethe while talking about this subject for this Warhammer Wednesday.
Still Age of Sigmar?
Still Age of Sigmar, one specific unit. In fact, a unit I just bought and put together right after writing this script. And Nagash is an unholy monstrosity to put together. Everything weaves, everything ties together, and everything is really spindly and hard to get to stick together. Nagash, Supreme Lord of the Undead. This model is going to be a nightmare to paint looking at this thing now, but let's talk about the guy. Nagash comes from the world that was, Shyish, the realm of death in the Warhammer fantasy. When he was alive, it wasn't the realm of death, and I don't think he was actually there, but to a continent to the south of the Sigmar Empire. It seems that Shyish was originally a magic realm just in general. Seems this realm was specifically the world where dread went when one felt it in the mortal realms, which makes some sense, but not really too. Nagash was a wizard on the world that supposedly founded, made, and established necromancy as a school of magic. In life, he was a tall man, very tanned, often showing off his muscular body by wearing open, loose clothing. It's said that his eyes were shining and black, with a thin, gold-adorned beard and a shaven head. Nagash was the firstborn son of the king. I'm going to butcher this, but it looks like it's supposed to give an Egyptian vibe. Ketep of Kemri, in minus 2000 the imperial calendar year. That's essentially 2000 BC, but in the AOS and fantasy setting. Nagash was sent by his father to join the death cult called the Nehekaran Mortuary Cult, and quickly gained power in said cult, becoming a high priest at 32, the youngest in history. He, like all other priests in the cult, looked for immortality. Nagash got informed from one of the sorceresses and found out there was a Chaos Gate in the north of his territory, and went to it, and used the magic coming from it to establish the dark magics of necromancy. Of course, I'm skipping a lot of stuff like his war with the lizard men, his slaughter of the dark elves, and a few other things. He was also regent king for a short period while his dad had a cold. When his pops did die, his little brother Thutep took rulership, which Nagash wasn't happy about. Why was the little brother put on the throne? I genuinely don't know. I can't find any information about he gained the power there. But Nagash proceeded to bury his brother alive with his father in his father's tomb, and immediately crowned himself king. Now raising an army of undead, he went out to fight other Nehekaran kings and take their thrones too, crowning himself both High Priest and High King, 2 titles no single person had ever held before. At this point, Nagash started figuring out more and more about death, eventually turning himself into the cool-looking lich monster thing you see in the model in minus 1151 IC. Of course, a side effect of him doing this was also it brought all the old kings of the countries that he had slaughtered back to life. Of course, Nagash didn't know his spell had worked on him. He thought he just fucked it up at first. So the undead kings attacked and killed him. Sadly, he was dead. But he lived! In the Black Pyramid, he literally stitched himself back together like a puzzle, got back out of the tomb, looked at all the skeletons, and told them to obey. And they did! Nagash went home, saw some Skaven were digging up his house, and he enslaved or slaughtered them. He started spreading his army across the world. Now, at this point, the Pantheon of Order actually started using him as a mercenary to do some jobs. The Undead were ultimate parts of Order, and the final step that obeyed without question and worked tirelessly. They had no free will, no desires, and no needs, except for the vampires and ghouls, but that's different. Nagash served them for pay, slowly buying his time to overthrow them, at which point he started trying to spread his empire. He hit Sigmar's land, and Sigmar was having none of it. Sigmar came in with his Warhammer, not the 40,000 one, but the fantasy one, and smashed in the skull of Nagash. Cursed him, so now the vampires started popping up, but many said that any faith in Sigmar would essentially kill undead on sight. That ain't how it worked, but it was propaganda. Nagash, about 1,666 years after his death at Sigmar's hands, got back up and said,
What happened?
and had to throw hands with some orcs, while forging a crown for himself to give him power over the vampires he accidentally birthed. During the end times, a few of his thralls made alliances, mostly vampires. They tried to make themselves more powerful. Nagash showed up and said,
Oh, absolutely not. Unless you're employed by me.
So he took power over them. Now we've got Nagash, who's got a magic book, a magic sword, and a magic stick. On the table, the sword and the stick have the same stats except for damage. The sword deals 3 damage, while the stick deals a d6 damage. So it's a dice roll whether it's better or not. Nagash can bring back non-hero units and just straight up kill units with a pick one hand sort of thing. They'll probably change that weird ability in the future, but right now it is kind of fun. And that's the basic, broken, and bad rundown of this cool model and dude. Shove off.